Recently at Pepperdine, a professor says she reads out loud her course material so her class can understand. She says it's not because they lack critical thinking skills, it's because they cannot read sentences. It's absurd to think that students are going into university not reading, but studies show that reading is plummeting. About 65% of American fourth graders read below the proficient level, and 44% of Americans last year did not finish a book. Now, one of the most obvious causes is increased cell phone usage amongst young people. It's been researched dozens of times and proven how TikTok, Reels, and Shorts are very damaging to focus and attention. I don't need to be another person telling you that. But part of the problem is that these apps fill time better than anything else on the planet, at least on the surface. I'm gonna make up a statistic here and say that 99.8% of Gen Zers pick up their phone the moment they're stopped at a red light. These apps are engineered by some of the smartest people on earth, and their job is to keep you on them. So there is no surprise that people are turning to these apps. And reading is something which is left in the dust. This video is gonna cover the reading epidemic in 3 parts. 1, what's going on and what's causing the decline of reading? 2, why is this an issue? And 3, so we can end on a positive note, why is reading such a benefit? Part of what makes the decline of literacy tragic, reading is objectively awesome, and subjectively it's also awesome. Across every industry, speed has become the default expectation. You can get your fast food in 20 minutes, and Uber even faster than that. Speed is the standard, and the entertainment industry followed the same trajectory. Now, short-form content went in perfected speed. The average TikTok is less than a minute. Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, same thing. And it works. Recent surveys show that many young adults spend multiple hours on social media every day. And at the same time, daily reading for pleasure has dropped significantly over the past few decades. So the point I'm trying to make is that we haven't lost time in our day for reading. That same time has just been reallocated. Now again, I could make an entire video about the neurological impacts of phone usage on the brain. A lot of smart people have already done that. The research is there and it's really well documented. What I want to focus on is instead something quieter. The educational and cognitive enrichment we lose when we stop reading. Context clues in reading comes from inferring, matching patterns, understanding tone to determine what the author is trying to say. Many strong readers don't understand every single word on the page because they've memorized the definition. They understand because they're able to piece together what's missing through inference. And the only way to improve at using context clues is repetition. You can't shortcut it. And reading forces you to do this constantly, oftentimes without even realizing it. When you read, you infer the meaning of words. You pick up on subtle tone shifts. You try to figure out where the paragraph or sentence is going to end, and you notice patterns and structures throughout. Here's something crazy. When you read fiction, you are simulating other people's minds. Here's what I mean by that. You get into the perspective of a character. You interpret their motivations and try to anticipate what they're going to do next. Psychologists call this the theory of mind. In essence, it's the ability to understand that others have beliefs, ideas, and perspectives that are different from your own. This theory plays out every single day in life because unless somebody explicitly tells you what's going on in their head, you just have to infer. You read facial expressions, you interpret tone, you read body language. These are all necessary skills to navigate human life. And they're the same exact cognitive muscles when using context clues in reading. When you constantly practice reading fictional characters, you are training your ability to interpret people. A society that does not read will have a harder time understanding each other. Books, especially classic books, are more than just stories. These books form parts of the intellectual foundation of civilizations. In Western civilization, the United States, Western Europe, and other countries, titles like the Odyssey, Republic, Meditations, and even the Federalist Papers have shaped political thought, formed cultural identity, and even influenced moral imagination. The themes in these works like ambition, pride, greed, and loyalty, they're not new at all. In fact, they're thousands of years old, but they're still relevant today in our society. I mean, there's a movie called The Odyssey coming out this year, and it's probably gonna make $1 billion in ticket sales. Imagine for a moment that somebody had never seen the mountains, either through a picture or in person. To them, a pretty large hill would seem massive. If you've never read the Iliad or learned about the Battle of Troy, today modern conflicts can seem unprecedented. And yeah, that's a mythological battle, but you understand that humans have dealt with war, greed, and power for millennia. In the book 1984, there's a portion where the author, George Orwell, goes into deep description of how the government and Big Brother, this overlord dictator, controls everyone's lives. And it's terrifying. You don't skim it in 10 seconds. It's a long portion of the book. You sit with it for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, keep turning the page and reading more and more and more. One idea. It doesn't allow for constant switching. The depth gained from sustained reading like this is structurally different from exposure to rapid content. So that leads us to the redeeming part. What is so great about reading? First things first, primary sources. Going straight to the primary source is awesome. Here's a video summarizing the Magna Carta and all of its highlights. Great. Another idea. I'm just going to read it on my own and form my own conclusions personally. Primary sources feel foreign to many people in Gen Z because of the age of SparkNotes and video recaps. We take for granted that we can read the source ourselves. When you read them, it feels like you discovered something you weren't supposed to. Go to a Wikipedia page and find an article on anything you find interesting. The Mexican-American War, the founding of Rome, really anything you want. Scroll down to the bottom and click the references. A lot of websites offer online libraries where you can actually read the original reference. There's something so awesome about encountering ideas unfiltered. Speaking as a Gen Zer myself, I believe that many of us want to form our own perspectives through lived experiences, not just through curated feeds and what others tell us. Primary sources give us just that. Finishing a book or a series is a real achievement. It takes time, energy, and you have to be consistent with it. It's something people respect a lot too. The platform Goodreads exists to congratulate others and talk about the books that everyone's read. We all want to be building towards something, and when you look back at your year and see how many books that you've finished, it really does feel like you've grown. Lastly, reading enforces pace, because you cannot read a book by skimming it, nor can you understand it all by watching a 5-minute recap video. You approach it line by line, and doing so, it slows you down. When you're reading, you're afforded something very rare. Nothing. No notifications, no vibrations, no interruptions. It's like your own personal safe house. Just you and the page. In a world that rewards immediate reaction, reading rewards patience. It trains you to sit with complexity, to tolerate ambiguity, and to delay your conclusions. That slowing down does something subtle but powerful. It stabilizes you. It builds your interior structure. It gives you space to think rather than react. I believe the world will be a much richer place when we're all reading. See you next time.